when I see these people go to Cuba and talk about how wonderful and poor people, because the US is oppressing them, knowing the truth, knowing that no person gets on a raft and spends days at sea trying to get to freedom, knowing very well that they could die, and just living with that reality, no one does that unless what's going on over there is really, really dark. And the fact that these people are trying to whitewash it and just, butter it up and call it vintage and call people resilient. Yeah, we're resilient, but not because we've been fighting against the US. It's because we've been oppressed by a regime that, sold social justice. And it's even scarier when you see the similarities between the Cuban narrative and the Democrat narrative.
Yeah.
And I have to say, I don't believe that every Democrat is a socialist or a communist. Absolutely not. But it would be great if they admitted that their party is the one that the socialists found fit to infiltrate with their social justice BS. I want to say this. Cuba has to do their part. And I know a lot of Cubans don't like it when I say this, because Cubans on the island, it's time for them to rise up. And they're starting. I know it's scary, but we're doing our best to try to encourage them. I do have family there, and people are like, how could you say that? If they're going to go to prison or if they could be in prison, well, I morally cannot ask US to put their kids, their soldiers, their guys at stake if I'm not asking the people in Cuba, my birthplace, to risk and sacrifice as well. Freedom is not free. And we cannot just be thinking that the US is just going to come and free us. Although we would love the help because we need it, Cuba does need to understand that inside the island, there needs to be an uprising. And there needs to be an uprising for the sake of freedom, but for the sake of the world understanding that the regime has not completely manipulated the people's minds. Right now, these flotillas flying over their situation are being successful because there is not like a huge amount of people just massively protesting in the streets, proving this wrong. If Cuba rises and shows the world, no, we do not agree with the regime. No, we do not agree with these, bobos coming here to talk the nonsense they're talking and try to twist the narrative. If that were to happen, I think it would make the biggest difference. So I think that the US is doing a wonderful job and we appreciate it. But my wish is that the people overcome fear and finally show the world that they've had enough.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I agree with this young lady 1000%. I've said it a multitude of times on this channel. Freedom is not free. How many people lost their lives, to gain freedom from Great Britain here in this nation? How many people lost their lives during the Civil War, to gain for the enslaved to gain freedom in this country, and with hopes that we would unify the nation? How many people lost their lives? Freedom is not free. There is a price to pay for this. And that's what I don't understand about so many Democrats out there. When you think about everything that's going on in the world right now, taking out Maduro down in Venezuela, going after Iran, it's all about maintaining our safety here in this country. It's been all about that. Every move has been about maintaining the safety of this country. And people have to understand, in order to do that, sometimes you got to go put some lives on the lines. There is some risk involved with that because freedom isn't free. We can't afford and cannot allow ourselves to just sit here fat, dumb, and happy while people are plotting, and strategizing against us, hoping for our downfall. This young lady is absolutely right. She would love for the Americans to come in there and help, but she also knows that the people have to stand up and fight from within. And to be honest with you, the change is really here. The change is a mental change. And the thing is that you have Democrats out here that are frustrated with people like this young lady. They're upset with her because she's no longer a slave to this socialist mindset. So they call them the bad Cubans. The people that stay there under this wicked socialist regime, You have liberals calling them the good Cubans. It's unbelievable. But what we do know about the Democrat Party, what we do know about these liberals, they are the party of slavery. They are the people. They are the party of oppression. They are the party of the have and have nots. Hit the like button, share the video. Let's keep going in this.
Cuban that we encounter.
This is good. You know, they say, gentlemen, some things never change.
Cubans, fucking best people. Okay, so kind, so welcoming, just the best. Not in Miami. Oh, dude, it's the reversal. Like all the good Cubans stayed here, and most of the ones that are crazy just like flew up there.
That's
I
his
had a
stream?
Funny experience with that.
So you racially profiled him. It's crazy how the people that escape the country don't like it. I would have never expected that. I would have never expected this in a million years. So yeah, it's the see, there's the good Cubans and the bad Cubans. The good Cubans are the ones that agree with me. The bad Cubans are the ones that don't agree with me. Ah, I see. That makes a lot of sense, of course.
Unbelievable. But they're at a point now where they're not even hiding it anymore. They are over in your face telling you who they are and what they're about. This Hassan Piker guy, you know, worth a couple M's. They say that he's a Nepo baby. He's one evil individual. But he sounds like a lot of Democrats from way back when. The black people that wanted to fight to get themselves out of bondage, willing to stand up for their people. Oh, those are the bad black people. The folks that decided to stay on the Democrat plantation, those are the good ones. Not much has changed with the rhetoric. It's just the people are different, but not much has changed.
Hospitals because they don't have electricity for ventilators. We've got Hassan Piker and a bunch of other useless American champagne socialists vacationing in Cuba and using their electricity to power their private concerts and luxury hotels.
I was saying, tourism is the lifeline for the Cuban economy as it stands currently. The government has very limited resources, and the American government makes it illegal for Americans to stay wherever they want when they're in Cuba. They have to stay in what they've declared as 5-star hotels.
Stop the cap. Stop the cap. It's already been mentioned. It's already been put out there that, yes, there are sanctions in Cuba that restricts U.S. citizens from lodging in accommodations owned by the Cuban government or connected to the figures or people within the regime, but there is no limit on the quality. Y'all didn't have to stay at 5-star hotels. Y'all didn't have to do that. But that's what limousine liberals do. This is what they do. They stay in the best accommodations and then go around and wag the finger at everybody else.
Hassan, Code Pink, and a bunch of other socialist influencers have taken to Cuba to blame Trump for all the country's problems, not the oppressive communist dictatorship that is hosting them. Like I said, they're staying at luxury hotels, hosting private concerts, riding around in buses to go tour the crumbling infrastructure in hopes that Americans will wake up and be more like Cuba one day. And you gotta love watching Hassan, the most successful capitalist socialist, wearing Cartier glasses that cost more than $1,300 while he goes and does this. All the while, Cubans are living in literal rolling blackouts constantly, on top of starving because of food rations, because the government spends money on themselves, not actually on the citizens. But they do also spend money on the socialist tourists that go and do their propaganda campaigns for them. As a Cuban American, it is disgusting and exhausting to watch spoiled socialist brats trying to turn America into what Cuba has become. Since these socialists seem to love these policies so much, I think that they should stay in Cuba and live like actual Cubans do. Rationed food, no electricity, limited medication, and no free speech.
I would agree with that 1000%. Give them what they are advocating for. Let them go over there. You want socialism? Go over there. Go do it. Have at it. But quit trying to bring these failed policies here to America, especially when you have on a $1,300 pair of glasses. Do you guys understand that $1,300 is the equivalent to about 4 to 5 months of the median wage in Cuba? Do you understand that? He probably could take care of a family in Cuba for probably 6 months with those glasses. These people have zero shame.
Eso es una falta de respeto. Era ese hombre con una galletita en la mano, poniendo un poco niño a bailar para darle la galletita. Eso es una falta de respeto. Aprovechándose de la miseria cubana. Aprovechándose de la miseria cubana.
This video was filmed by a Cuban citizen showing a member of the flotilla associated with, Hassan, Piker, and Pablo Iglesias, those people, appearing to ask a hungry Cuban child to dance in exchange for a cookie while recording content. So just strip away the ideology for a split second and look at this dynamic. You have a wealthy foreign political influencer or influencers arriving to a country experiencing severe shortages with cameras, directing a hungry child to perform for food. Many of the same voices on this flotilla that constantly speak about dignity, inequalities, exploitation, power imbalances. I guess all those things are selective, right? Because if these guys were actually interested in any real form of humanitarian work, they would aim at reducing power imbalances instead of staging them, instead of turning hardship into content, instead of turning a hungry child into a circus prop. If the goal was true solidarity with the Cuban people, then they would obviously honor dignity before optics, but that was never the case, and we knew this. We knew that this was never about the Cuban people. If it was, then they would be there demanding the regime to step down, but they're not doing that, right? Instead, they're using people in poverty and in some sort of crisis as production props. These people are disgusting, bro.
No, they're absolutely disgusting. They're absolutely disgusting, but they are who we think they are. They hadn't changed, people. I need you guys to understand that. They haven't changed. And when I say they, I'm talking about Democrats. I'm talking about these liberals. I'm talking about these hippies. They haven't changed, man. This isn't, where is the food? They're out here partying in hotels. Where is the aid and the resources for these people who are in dire need? There's video of the infrastructure of Cuba and it is crumbling. It is terrible. They're driving old cars, not because they love classics. It's out of necessity. There's no new stuff over there. And unfortunately or fortunately, the ingenuity of these people is phenomenal. It's phenomenal. Y'all should go and look up, the ingenuity of these people and what they've been able to build, cars and motorcycles and things of that nature out of used parts and, and scraps and spares. It is phenomenal, but they shouldn't have to live that way. Not in the 21st century. They shouldn't have to live that way. They should not be living that way. And this dude's absolutely right. They didn't go over there to help the people. They didn't go over there to advocate on their behalf. They went over there to make content, to try to make the administration look bad, and really to big up and support this communist regime. This Hassan Piker guy had the nerve to brag about the fact that the Cuban leadership reached out to him to help push more communist propaganda on their behalf. This is crazy, man.
To Havana over the weekend, allegedly staying in luxury five-star hotels as the island restores power from its third blackout this month. Here to react is Fox News contributor Mary Catherine Ham. Good morning to you.
Good morning.
Why do you think they're doing this? Is this in protest of what President Trump has done, blocking the oil?
Well, it's hard to imagine anything more out of touch than influencers flying down some first class with their ring lights and their makeup to hang out in an impoverished country that is currently imprisoning, by the way, a reggaeton artist for writing a song, a protest song that went viral and was co-written with folks, Cuban Americans who are in America. That's the kind of person that the regime imprisons, and the libs are like, sign us up, let's go, we'll stay in a hotel. And by the way, is it a coincidence that the hotel has power so that you can stream the government's approved messages back to Cuban Americans and to Cubans there who are repressed? No, they're doing that for you. That's the regime's work.
That's the irony here. A lady was interviewed, and she's exiled from Cuba, lives here in America. She said, while nearly the entire country is suffering from power outages lasting over 20 hours, the left is welcomed with air conditioning and wasteful electricity consumption. So people here feel that way. Do you think that they're meeting with the president? What is their objective here?
Yeah. Their objective is to suck up to communists, I think. That is the objective. And if they were capable of being embarrassed, they would be, but I don't think they are. And unfortunately, the Cuban people will continue to suffer while they romanticize the nonsense that this regime perpetrates on them.
Yeah. The Democrat Party has been infiltrated by the communists. And honestly, this isn't a new thing. I don't think this is a new phenomenon. I think they've been infiltrated and compromised for quite some time. they've just smashed the pedal, and they're moving further and they're moving quicker because they see that they don't have much time left. So they're trying to get their way. They're trying to push this upon the people with hopes that this will work. But it's not, because there's enough of us out here that understand that this style of government, it doesn't work. It doesn't work anywhere. And what those people think that they're doing, they think they're doing something positive, but in all actuality, they're actually showcasing the negativity, the negative aspect of a communist, socialist regime and country. Americans are getting a chance to see how bad off Cuba is. The American people got a chance to see how bad off Venezuela is. The American people are going to get an opportunity to see how bad off things are and have been for the people over in Iran in the very near future.
I'm not going to talk about the people in my party. I'm going to talk about the people in the other party. There are far more people in the other party that seem to be just okay and fine with oppressive regimes.
I guess after Iran, after potentially Cuba, there are dozens of oppressive regimes all over the world. Is the United States responsibility to topple all of them? I mean,
the ones that are a direct threat to the United States, yeah, we need to do something about it, because I don't want my children or my grandchildren dealing with those regimes.
Yeah, simple as that, man. If it directly affects us here in this nation, if it directly affects our sovereignty, our security, yes, I think we should do something about it, and we should do something about it ASAP. Other than that, hey, everybody else got to handle their own business.
Why are you voting for Trump? I can't vote. I'm out. I'm not from here, but like I'm from China. Initially, we fled China. I'm an asylum, actually.
But would you vote for Trump if you could?
Yes, of course.
What's your message for Americans that don't understand
Don't
tyranny?
vote for socialism. Yeah!
It's amazing how many Americans want socialism, isn't it?
I mean, that's what Chinese people wanted, and look what happened. And now, it's about to happen to us. So we fled here, and we wanted this place to not be like China. Don't vote like what China happened. Don't let that happen. Exactly.
And that's why
we need more people to step up, more people that came from communist regimes that made their way here to the United States, the Cubans, the Chinese, the Venezuelans that do not want to live that lifestyle. We need them to step up and speak out and say, hey, man, we came over here because we got away from that foolishness. Do not implement that over here. But we also need to continue to educate these young people. Everybody wants something for nothing. The word of God says he who doesn't work doesn't deserve to eat. The communist socialist agenda is antithetical to the word of God, because it robs from the people who have to give to the have-nots. Before you know it, no one has anything because you run out of other people's money. Look at what's going on in New York City. Those people have been bamboozled. You had so many young people out there that thought that they were going to get free this, free that, free this, only to realize and now recognize that, hey, they're coming for your money now. They're making New York New York City a place that is eventually going to be uninhabitable. Businesses are fleeing. Look at California right now. You have 40 million people in California. Less than half of the state's population paying the taxes. How long are they going to be able to take care of illegal immigrants and take care of all these people and buy these, drugs and alcohol and all this other kind of stuff for people that don't work? The billionaires are leaving. The middle class is leaving. California is turning into a welfare state. New York City is turning into a welfare city. How long will it be before either both of them just crumble and collapse? And for the people that are leaving, don't bring that foolishness down south. Don't bring it to the Midwest. Leave that where you came from. I want to hear from you guys in the comment section. What are your thoughts on any of this? Hit the like button, share the video, subscribe to the channel, turn the notifications on to all so you never miss an upload. Consider joining the ARP family. Buy your brother a coffee. Or you can support the channel via CashApp. Shout out to Eric Plummer. Shout out to Nisi. Thank you guys so much for supporting us via CashApp. And join us Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, 9:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time for ARP in the morning. Come check us out. If it's your first time, please let me know in the chat so we can properly welcome you to the show. And as always, keep God first. Stay prayed up. We'll catch up with you guys next time.
It is God who owns arms me with strength. Yeah, I'm battle ready. He trains my hands for battle. My heart stays steady. But thanks be to God, He gives us the victory. Through my Lord Jesus Christ, it can't live in me. I was down to the dirt, red clay on my shoes, old pain in my shirt, oh so bruised. In the Lord hit my chest, kicked air from my breath, put power in my step.